Hello, my name's Michael Conneely and I'm bringing you the October 2020 edition of our Starwheel Astrology and Healing newsletter. And this is part 1, which is the October 2020 key summary. And so what I'm trying to offer here is my take in a creative way, in a healing orientated way, on the key top energies of October 2020. And they are actually completely disorientating, very divergent and very powerful astrological energies of these very strange times. So in this key summary, which is part 1, I'm focusing basically on Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto and the Gandanta planets. And then in the later parts I go on to look in more details into such crucial issues as more detail on the transits of Saturn, Jupiter and Pluto. Please listen to those. The effects of the nodes of the moon changing sign. Challenged Mars and our hero's journey. And there's other very important issues. How the present Mercury retrograde will massively affect the USA presidential election on the 3rd of November 2020. Neptune opposite Venus love issues. What does it mean that Pluto now turns direct? Crucial stuff about Uranus, the bringer of revolution, social revolution, yes, but of what sort, and personal revolution. What personal revolution do you now need? Are you now holding inside you that you need not to throw away, but to manifest? And lastly, Chiron, the wounded healer, in October 2020. So there are 6 parts altogether for the October newsletter, and this is part 1. So what I want to begin with is the energies we are all experiencing in October are confusing. But the point is, if, and through the help of astrology, we can accurately and comprehensively name those energies and understand those energies and bring in a more divine level awareness as we view what we identify at the egoic level, at the social level, then this helps us so much. We can, on the basis of good declaration, we can bring in the necessary self-healing and we can develop the necessary inspiration to identify what's going on and to identify the right strategy for us personally. I've done this. I'm proud to say and pleased to say I feel it's a step up in my life. And then we can follow the right strategy for each one of us personally. And if we can do that, perceive the true nature of the energies, identify the right strategy for us so that we become the person we incarnated to be this time, then actually each of us will do well in these pretty dreadful times. So a big step in my personal journey to bring in the needed vision and revolution in my life was very unexpected. It was a shamanic journey I was doing a few weeks ago online, and suddenly my consciousness and my vision were overtaken and I saw things that were completely unexpected. And I couldn't sort of interpret their meaning as they unfolded during the drumming journey online. But afterwards, I analysed them, indeed with the help and resources of friends, and I've developed such wonderful awareness of how I need to sort out my life now, particularly my work life and finances, and how I need to go forward out of that sorting to a happier, healthier and stronger life that is more in accord with my divine nature, who I was meant to be, who I incarnated to be. Okay, and we have to work through many difficulties, and I certainly had to, but I feel actually that in these terrible times, and partly because of these terrible times, now is the time for me. And so we need to bring in the healing and the growth and the strategy. And of course, the sorts of healing approaches that are right for us will vary from person to person. And my wife, Maggie Pashley, does many wonderful healing modalities online. To have a look at her website, www.maggiepashley.com. But just to say that the methods that have worked for me definitely seem to be vision-based, like shamanic journeys, earth energy-based. Yes, I need physical healing, and I rely on other healers for that. I'm not by nature physically a strong person, I don't feel. But the healing methods that really seem to stem naturally from me seem to be body energy work related to vision, indeed so often related to gods and goddesses. You know, whether of Tibetan Buddhism, the Norse deities, the Irish deities, the Egyptian deities, and envisaging those, meeting those, dialoguing with those, and standing in posture to internalize and become those faces of the divine, which is what the ancient deities are, faces of the ultimate divine. I've actually found that dance is a wonderful way of healing the many blocks that were put into me in my childhood, youth and earlier life. And there's a wonderful lady who is a leader in the local Sligo area, northwest of Ireland, healers community, Claire Louise Nifton, who runs wonderful transcendence dance sessions. You really should emigrate to the west of Ireland just to benefit from those. And diet is important. It's helped me so much in my health and my energies, but also my consciousness, to have gone on a much better diet lately, which Maggie, I think, found almost by chance, a keto diet. I know there are several of those, but this is a really good one. So yes, these are difficult times, but actually please see that this can be made to be your time. The mystics among us leap into the fire of vision and then arise. The wild ones among us tear up the pages of their life journal and burn the old scripts and arise. The rebellious free souls break off their chains. So whichever path is right for you, embrace it in a way that is not spiritual bypassing, is not glib and formula, but is grounded and authentic to your body, authentic to your life purpose, and authentic to your true feelings at this time. Don't sort of suppress those and ignore them because of spiritual bypassing. This is your time. So, as I speak to you at the beginning of October 2020, we are actually, as a globe, heading into a crucial period of weeks and months and a year ahead. For example, the 14th of December eclipse will be crucial. It's right on top of Donald Trump's natal Moon Ketu conjunction, so he will become unstable. And please see my very special blog and video prediction on how he will behave. And at that time, oh my God, Neptune squares the nodal axis. It's wonderful if we are embodying the positive sides of Neptune. It's dreadful if Neptune negative sides are caught up in the chimera and dragon forces of the nodes, as they will be with that eclipse on the 14th of December. And remember, it's one of the two eclipses of this year, 2020, that are in exactly the same position, to a degree, as the 2001 eclipses that created the 9/11 Twin Towers phenomenon. This is serious times we're talking about. So do see, oh yes, I've got a web page on my Starwheel Astrology website which shows the charts and the ephemeris and the planet positions of each of the planets on each of the months in 2020. Please do go to my Starwheel Astrology October web page. The link for it is in the blog, or you can go onto my website and find it. And, you know, that will underpin the detail of the prediction I'm offering in this 6-part newsletter. So, the way I see things generally, and I'm being very careful about what I interface with, you know, on the sort of global and Facebooking plane and all that, is that at this time, human societies are really polarizing. Of course, it's happened before. But the dark is rising from what I see, particularly it seems to be the United States' turn for this. It's been other countries' turns at different dates, obviously, in history. And this has the additional effect of making many individuals embrace the light. So don't get sucked into Facebooking about how awful Donald Trump is and this, that and the other, and how coronavirus really isn't a virus, because you know, I have many students across the world and some of the stories I have are so terrible that I realise the true danger of being affected by coronavirus. So each of us have to make an embracing of the light, and out of that make some quite serious decisions about our identity and our life path now. Individually and collectively, we're all going through a dark night of the soul now. And so each of us and the societies we live in will do well not to get sucked into the darkness and the fear. And I find this is happening to me moment by moment. But instead, embracing the necessary changes which come to us from a raised awareness due to the light, due to the divine. So actually I want to share that this month of October is critical, will be critical for each human being. We each need to identify and embrace that which is right and important for our individual life. In October, reveal who you are. Don't get sucked into the dark dance. Manage your life as the roller coaster rolls. Don't get sucked into the screaming of everyone else sitting on the roller coaster. So these weird and conflicting energies for October 2020 can be summarised as follows. October 2020 is a month starting with Saturn, supremely powerful, imposing his limits, his realities and his truths. He is Lord of Karma. Saturn is stationing right now. It actually happened a couple of days ago. But he's just starting to go direct, all in the sign he rules, Vedic Capricorn. But conversely, October is a month starting with Jupiter's very, very high, different, totally different from Saturn, vibrant and expansive energies and blessings in the sign he rules, Vedic Sagittarius. And so Jupiter is sending us blessings, sense of purpose, inspiration. But please be aware, this does go out with a bang. On November the 20th, Jupiter leaves his own sign of Sagittarius and enters Capricorn, where it's the sign of his debilitation. And so Saturn is left in command of the field from November the 20th. The other thing to note is that the end of September and the very beginning of October is a maelstrom, in that 3 planets start October, each in one of the 3 turbulent immaterial Gandanta zones. Gandanta zones are the transition from water sign to fire sign in Vedic astrology using the sidereal zodiac. So from Pisces to Aries, Cancer to Leo, Scorpio to Sagittarius. And they are immaterial because water is dissolving into the void across which we see the first flare of fire. It tells us, and we can see, that this world is immaterial. And in fact, it rests on what Buddhists would call the void, but what Hinduism would call the Shiva Shakti mating, the endless mating of Shiva and Shakti creating the universe. In other parts of Hinduism, Lord Vishnu reclines in ecstasy, looked over by his beloved wife, as he dreams universes in and out of being. But as each universe is manifested by the God, it gets further and further from the divine. Vishnu sends avatars to try and sort us out, but eventually this world becomes too far from the divine, and so the Vishnuvite perception is that Lord Vishnu reabsorbs the universe. It's gone too far from the divine, and then he emanates another universe and another universe. And of course, a third wonderful image from Hinduism is Lord Shiva Nataraja dancing in his ring of flames. And so he moves from destruction to creation, as we all must, particularly at this time of destruction. And notice that one of his feet are actually resting on a little supine figure, Parasmara, the demon of ignorance, and one of his hands is pointing down to tell us, what is Parasmara in your life now? Identify the demon of ignorance that you're embracing, that I'm embracing, so that we can join the dance in the circle of flames, freed from the bondage of our ignorance, and more aligned to the person we incarnated to be, indeed assisted partly by the wonderful perception of astrology. And I want to say here that it was hearing about those Gandanta zones that actually totally unexpectedly converted me to add Vedic astrology to the Western astrology I'd long been practicing. And that is because my moon is at 29 degrees 56 minutes Pisces, deep, deep, deep into the Gandanta between Pisces and Aries, between Revati Nakshatra and Ashwini Nakshatra. And at one statement. The statement that my moon is in the very, very end of Revati, in the deepest Revati Ashwini Gandanta, in the deepest Pisces, Aries Gandanta, using the sidereal zodiac of Vedic astrology, it declared in a few sentences the very unusual start in my life and almost the totality of my incarnational life purpose. And so I immediately went deep, deep, deep into Vedic astrology, and 25 years ago added it to the teaching I already gave from, based on wonderful and necessary Western psychodynamic astrology using the tropical zodiac and Western evolutionary astrology. And it grieves me and saddens me when people say that the tropical zodiac can be used for Vedic astrology, because it cannot. Use of the tropical zodiac destroys identification and perception of the Gandanta zones, just for one. It places the planets in the wrong signs, just for another. And the list goes on. Vedic astrology is a supreme declaration, but my work is based on the statement that you also need psychodynamic Western astrology, most definitely, because Vedic astrology using the sidereal zodiac is orientated and attuned to the fixed stars. And so it's about our destiny and our incarnational life purpose. Whereas Western astrology is based on the position of the sun, where the sun is on the day of the vernal equinox. And so being sun sign based, it's about our egoic psychology.